Such special inks are time-consuming and laborious to produce, and the waterproof coating could also prove just as difficult. However, since Akihito's poetry collection was an important gift to be presented to the shogun, surely one of those two methods was used to protect it. But as for the plagiarized poems, not only would they lack Akihito's seal, but the words would also react differently when exposed to liquid.
Então esse poema não foi escrito por Akihito?
Which means Akihito didn't plagiarize his work. He was set up!
Yes, it appears that this is the truth that Sumizome's story is trying to convey. Although the story is saddening, I've decided on the subjects to use for Akihito and Sumizome's portraits. Kazuha, Ayaka, would you be willing to be the models for my paintings?
I would be delighted.
Yes, as would I.
There you go. The next two portraits should be ready in no time.
Nossa.
Yes. And now that all 4 stories have all been collected, the story of the 5 Kaisen is now fully completed.
Sério? Assim? Rápido?
Long ago, Inazuma had 5 legendary poets. People bestowed upon them the title of the 5 Kaisen.
One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kaisen's work for the shogun's perusal. But a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and Suiko was questioned regarding the matter. Suiko pleaded guilty. He admitted to drinking at the tavern the night before, and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
That figure was none other than Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akihito.
Akihito had once belonged to the 5 Kaisen. Each poem he composed, he marked with a scarlet red seal, hence the Aka in his name. Such a distinguished writer was he, and yet one of the poems he had submitted the previous year was found to be plagiarized. Akihito was exiled for his crimes, and only 4 of the 5 Kaisen remained.
Sumizome went over Akihito's poems and noticed that the plagiarized poem lacked his seal. She immersed his poetry in a stream nearby, and only on the plagiarized poem did the ink run. Aoi no Okina passed by and witnessed Sumizome's doing, which he then recorded in a poem. Thus transpired the events of Suiko's poetry submission, and this is where the story comes to an end.
Ô, louco. É muito bonito, mano. É muito bonito. Muito bonito. Pouco depois, Albedo completa os 2 retratos. Olha, louco. Que loucura. Lindíssimo. Perfeitos. Meu Deus. Perfeitos. Perfeitos. Você parece incomodada.
Yeah. Ever since we completed the story of the 5 Kaisen, there's still one thing Paimon hasn't been able to figure out.
Yeah?
One of the 5 Kaisen is called Kuranushi, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, how could the story of the 5 Kaisen finish without him appearing at all?
Oh! Have you really not noticed?
Huh? Not noticed what? This is no time to be playing games, Tone Deaf Bard!
What he means is that the story of Kuranushi was already embedded within the 4 poems.
Huh?
Oh.
Really?
That's right. The key lies in the poem that Aoi no Okina wrote after seeing Sumizome rinsing the poetry collection. An average person could never understand the scene of a young girl washing Akihito's poetry collection in a stream. Even Aoi no Okina couldn't figure out the meaning behind Sumizome's actions. He was simply reminiscing and thinking about his old acquaintances. However, for the perpetrator who framed Akihito, it was completely obvious. He was worried that if this poem was seen by the Shogun, then the Shogun could discover the truth behind the plagiarism incident. If that happened, then he'd be finished. So, in desperation, he threatened Aoi no Okina to make him tear out this poem.
Which means the one who threatened Aoi no Okina is the same person that framed Akihito.
Exato, o culpado é o Kuronushi. Ele é a quinta pessoa que aparece só a sombra. Nossa, mano, que bom. Nossa, muito bom. Muito boa a história, mano. Muito boa. Muito boa mesmo. Gostei.
What? Kuronushi?
That's right. Though there are only 4 poems, they still managed to tell the complete story of all 5 Kaisen. Since the Shogun mentioned in the poems is certainly not the one of the 5 Kaisen, the only character left is the mysterious one with an unknown identity.
Oh, okay. Paimon is finally starting to get it now.
However, this also brings something else to mind.
Cara, a folha... A folha atravessou a Paimon como se não fosse nada, mano. Coisas assim, esses bugs microscópicos da Mihoyo nesses momentos de cutscene é muito hilário. Sempre tem, em algum momento da cutscene, algo que destoa totalmente da cutscene.
The story of the 5 Kaisen has more or less reflected everything that's been happening around us lately. Which begs the question, is there a Kuronushi in our world as well?
A Kuronushi? In our world?
Speaking of which, I wonder if our dear Kazuha has come up with anything.
Oh, right! Kazuha! He's been pretty quiet this whole time. Let's ask him!
Caramba! Fale com o Kazuha.
Hey, Kazuha! Are you okay? You've been standing in front of this blank canvas for a while, and you don't look so good.
Apologies for making a wild assumption, but has the story of the 5 Kaisen reminded you of anything?
Yes. A few things did come to mind, actually. However, they were nothing more than some past incidents regarding my family. I don't mind sharing the stories, but I'd prefer not to bring you any more trouble.
Oxe?
Hey, we're all friends here, Kazuha. You can always tell us whatever's on your mind.
Pois é.
Kaidehara, please forgive my assumption, but perhaps you were thinking of the Raiden Gokuden?
The Raiden Gokuden? What's that?
It appears that Miss Kamisato and I were thinking of the same thing. But it also has much to do with the Yashiro Commission. It would be improper to speak of it here without the consent of Miss Kamisato.
It's fine. Those of us here are all trustworthy, so there isn't any harm in it. However, this matter is somewhat complicated and may be difficult to explain. Let me start with the Raiden Gokuden.
Quem diabos é Raiden Gokuden? Até onde eu sei, só existe uma Raiden. Caramba, mano.